Well, hello there. It's another day. I'm Jim Harrington.
And I am Bill Knight. Happy Friday. Oh, by the way.
No. Today's Saturday. Today
okay.
is Saturday.
Okay, yeah, it is Saturday. It's the 6th is what I was getting to. Today is Alien Reveal Day, but I think the genie came out of the bottle in California yesterday.
Well, I think they landed and decided to take control of the voting process.
Well, Gavin did say they were going to find a way to break the glass. In other words, the fix was going to be in. That was the easiest way he could say it, because Karen Bass was not, covering her bass.
Fanny, yes.
The other lady was way behind, so the Republican was on the ticket. Now, there were two Republicans, if you remember, before this all got here, that was way ahead, and it looked like there'd be no Democrat on the ballot at all. Well, that's in the governor's race, and I think that's going on too. But so here, you've got this situation, and all of a sudden, magically, things just kind of changed overnight, and the loser is now almost the second place winner.
Pratt, who was second place and looked pretty good for him. He's now in jeopardy of losing second place to some councilwoman who was way behind. But see, folks, they don't care whether you see it or not anymore. It used to be that they used to sneak it in back rooms, but right now, because of the success they had stealing it in 2020, they just steal it right in front of our face. It's like, so what? What are you going to do about it?
If you don't believe that they use the mail-in ballots as a way to fix it, I grew up in California. I spent a lot of my life there. And it wasn't like this. Now, California always lamented, well, we're out on the West Coast. By the time everyone's tallied up their votes, ours don't count. But I will say this, California has they have a slow groove that they go to, and they like to mail in their ballots. They really didn't have that back then. But as the old saying goes, pardon the expression, Willie Nelson coined it back in the 70s, they wouldn't walk a mile to see a pissant eat a bale of hay. And they're surely not going to go out and cast their vote, so they do mail it now.
Listen,
because they're lazy folk out there.
The nearly 60,000 late mail-in ballots counted last night gave, her name is Nitya Raman. She's the third-place councilwoman. It gave her 23,000 new votes, and Pratt only gained 11,000. So, folks, in the general election, when people go and vote like they're supposed to, everything is above board, and Pratt's doing phenomenally. All of a sudden, these trucks pull up with these mail-in ballots. Oh, my God. And we're supposed to believe that it's all honest and above board,
Well, you know what? Where did the trucks come from? I think they need to put an extra thing on that, and that is a tracking system. The ballots are cast, or when they're mailed, it gets a tracker. Like in a store, they have a little scanning thing that they have to take off. That's a security thing. Maybe it has something that piece of mail has some kind of thing on it that tracks it. That we know the actual origin and everything on it, because they would sure have to spend a lot of money, which they're willing to do, to defeat something like that. But we need to be able to track every damn vote, since we're trusting it, to go out. And I'm not making fun of the people at the post office, but we're trusting it to the mail system, and let's be honest, not everything is always as smooth as you would like it to be with the Postal Service.
They had some people from the Justice Department who were showing up at these voting places in California. I still don't know exactly what they did, but they were there. I don't know whether they were monitoring or checking or validating or anything like that, but they were there. And I don't know, friends. Even guys like Steve Hilton have said this is third world. People can make fun of France all they want to, but the entire country of France has their decision in one day. by the end of the voting day, they have their elections completed. Here we have California. And by the way, what's one of the biggest industries in California? It's the tech industry, high tech. You talked about tagging ballots, which I think is a terrific idea. It could be done. They could do it. It could be lighter than a postage stamp and embedded in the paper. You wouldn't even know it was there, but they can do it, and they should do it, but they won't do it because they want to be able to steal it. It defeats their purpose.
There's no other reason why they don't want to have every security measure in place unless they're going, well, unless we can beat that security measure, we can't have that on these ballots because, look, it used to be you went to the polling place and you voted. How do you go wrong with that? You don't. Now, well, they used to because, I know a cool old gentleman that was around back in the day and, back in the turn of the century, his parents were around. And he was going, yeah, they used to sit there and say, hey, I forgot to vote. Hey, don't worry about it. Someone will go upstairs and, they'll
not a problem.
We'll mark your vote.
Hey.
So stealing has always been around. Now, you can't do that anymore. But, when ballots can walk themselves to the election bureaus, and it might take a little time to get there, and you don't from whence they came, don't know, well, how do we know?
Why is it that during the 2020 election, trucks from Long Island, New York, were bringing ballots into Pennsylvania, and nobody ever made an issue out of it? See, that's the problem, folks. You're not going to get the politicians to make an issue out of it because they do it. They're going to just let it fall by the wayside.
Yeah, if it benefits them. Well, you know what? Don't you think that we should have political dynamos that are supposedly dynamos turning over a little bit more than they do in office, but they seem to be like they're etched in stone by a burning bush in West Texas. They are there to stay. And we talk about term limits. Well, that's the only way around it. You can't have that because then,
You mean like Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell and all these people who, Dianne Feinstein when she was alive, they just keep on keeping on. They keep winning. You look at some of these representatives who are in their 80s, that lady from Connecticut with the purple hair. You have to ask yourself, are the people in Connecticut smoking a lot of funny weed or something like that? Is this who they think the best representative of their district is? That we want that woman. She'll stand out in the crowd.
Yeah, we're voting for statues, that are going to be here for a long time. And when we vote like this, yeah, they are a statue for fools, not of fools, but for fools, because we're the fools that are allowing this to happen.
But let me tell you something, friends. I came into work today and I looked at my cohort in crime, and he looked tired. He had a tough night. It was a busy night, Mr. Knight.
Yeah.
He was struggling and sweating over a recording console with his large and talented staff. And you put something together, didn't you?
Yeah, because you know what? Yesterday morning, I saw that it was going down.
Yeah.
That the fix was in. And, then I started going, jot down some stuff here because I know this is going to be a story. So I wrote some stuff, and I think I got some cool lines in there that make the point. It's fun, even if you're on the blue side. It'll be a laugh for you too, like ha ha na boo boo. Screw you.
You might call my friend here the Pavarotti of political platitudes. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, I like that.
You're welcome.
Let me write that down.
Anyway, shall we play this?
Sure, go ahead. Give it a whirl.
He put this together, sweating over. Just imagine this man over the console, pulling the different volume controls and watching the levels and screaming at his talent to do it just this way. That was Bill Knight last night.
Losing hair follicles and everything.
Well, you had a tough night, yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's what's it called, Bill?
It's called the Election Day Blues for right now.
Okay, here it is.
we choose. Harvesters running till the break of dawn. Signatures fuzzy, but the votes keep coming on. Suitcases rolling underneath the table. Democracy's fine as long as we're able. The fix is in, you will never win. We broke the glass, ain't that a gas? We make the rules, you'll always lose. Another blue win, now watch the news. They say it's secure, nothing to see. Just late night miracles for you and me. Mail-in magic, drop box mystery. Fair and square in this here democracy. The fix is in, you will never win. We broke the glass, ain't that a gas? We make the rules, you'll always lose. But keep on voting, we got more in the bag for you. Oh! Glimmers of hope disappear in the haze. Promises made fade like a distant phrase. Counting the coins, keeping the score. All of the dreams knocked down just like before. The fix is in, you will never win. We broke the glass, ain't that a gas? We make the rules, you'll always lose. Boys on TV dancing with the blues. Whispers on the wind, secrets of the night. Watch as the shadows step into the light. Voting for change, but baby, it's a game. Winning feels sweet, but we're all the same. They say it's clear, but look at the signs. Just midnight nonsense, tailpipe lines. Cunning they are, flip the script and we see fair and square. Oh, what could that mean? The fix is in, you will never win. We broke the glass, ain't that a gas? We make the rules, you'll always lose. But keep on voting, we got more in the bag for you. So when the ballots drop, we all play the clown, going round and round, wearing this election crown. Raise a glass, my friends, to another wild ride in the game of politics, where the truth kept inside.
Oh, that is so good. That was written by Mr. Knight, and it is owned by Mr. Knight. I just want you to know that. So if you're out there going, oh, I'm going to put that on my show, think twice about it because
You know, my favorite line is, we broke the glass.
Ain't that a gas?
Ain't that a gas? Thank you, Gavin Newsom, actually, because he's the one that was sitting there when they were talking about, they were interviewing him, and he sat there and they said, well, it looks like Democrats aren't going to be on the ballot. And he goes, that's not going to happen. We'll break the glass if we have to. And I thought, well, ain't that a gas? I'm going, oh, well, let's write that down.
He's never without a pad and pencil, really. He's always taking notes. Oh, I like that line. You know, so
that comes from the old radio days. Somebody once said, carry a notepad in the car and a pen. And because I go, what are you talking about, man? I was sitting there going, well, you see something, jot a note down, you know, and that's where that habit comes from. Now, I don't always have the notepad in my car, so sometimes, what did I say when I was driving by? You know, I'm sitting there, I'm having to be reminded all the time.
Ain't that a gas? Anyway.
Yeah, we broke the glass. Ain't that a gas?
We should play that again next week, too. I think it'll be appropriate. I think they'll still be counting next week, you know.
Oh, I think so, too.
Amazing. And I do think Pratt, who should have won, probably will be a distant third by the time they have their way. You know, when you think that we're living in the land of free elections, think again. Because they're screwing with us, folks, and they don't care whether you know it or not. You know, and I keep hearing President Trump say, I heard him say it a couple of days ago, Well, we've done our investigation. We have a lot of stuff on them now. We're gonna present it soon. Mr. President, we're ready. Please, we've been ready for months. If you have something, get your Department of Justice to bring it down. Boy, on the other side of the aisle, they wanted to attack you, sir. They would do it in an afternoon. Think we should raid his house? Yeah, good idea. Go down to Mar-a-Lago.
Hey, let's go through his wife's underwear drawer, too.
Yeah.
That was so, when they did that, I was like going, really? How low can, well, they can go pretty low.
They put boxes of files on the floor and spread them out like a display in a department store window, right? They spread them out, and they said, look what we found.
Yeah, he likes to sit there and go through them all like a dumb little, I'm like going, even, what do they call them? Pack rats.
Yes.
Even the worst pack rat in the world doesn't do that. So, this vilification of Trump and, dumbification, stupidification, whatever you're trying to do, you've gone way beyond the realm of common sense. But,
is he too nice for them, though? Is he literally, does he, I don't think he likes putting people in jail. But I think he's going to have to do it because they're going to do it to him again. I hope you don't have a short memory, Mr. President, because as soon as they get back into power of some sort, they are going to attack you, whether you're in office or not. They're going to go after your family. They're going to go after your people in your administration. Heck, they'll go after some of your supporters. So, just ask Rudy Giuliani what it's like to be on the receiving end of their unwarranted and unjust attacks.
Right.
Damn near killed him. But anyway, go ahead.
Now, they say the Senate rejects the SAVE Act. Now, I saw a thing in the wee hours of the morning that they actually, what was her name? It was Collins came across.
No.
And so
she
was there.
Really?
See, now, this is where the misinformation, my phone went off like it just did now. And sometimes you get emails that are BS. Now, they were celebrating, doing the happy dance, saying we got it, then it will be 51 with the J.D. Vance vote. So I'm going like, but the news stories that I'm reading here right now is saying, no, it didn't happen. But supposedly something late night happened. Now, I don't know because, even a Democrat friend was lamenting, saying, oh, you can't trust the news. Of course, he trusts the liberal news. And I'm like going, oh, these are the clowns that invented the lie. So I don't know if the...
No, she cast the 10,000th consecutive Senate vote. That's all. She calls... they made a big thing out of it. She literally was one of 4 senators who voted against President Trump and the SAVE Act.
Yeah.
And but Thune, because Thune is a deep state weakling with a nice smile and a movie star looks, he's not on the side of us, folks. He is not on the side of conservatives. He is one of the people in Washington who go along to get along with whoever is in power. That's John Thune's way of doing business. As far as what's good for the country, screw it. Not really important, unfortunately. But Thune, literally, even though she had just voted against the SAVE Act, he stopped the Senate for a moment to literally praise her for being the 10,000th vote, consecutive vote. Exactly. It's like, hey, guys, this is your own little private club. You get your jollies off counting votes. It's not how many votes you count or you cast. It's how many good votes, quality votes you cast, whether they mean something. If you're going present, that's a vote. You're doing nothing. So anyway, Susan Collins, she is, the thing about it is, folks, we're stuck in Maine. We have this other guy, Plattner, who's literally a Nazi sympathizer. He's a pig who has assaulted and assailed women. They've come out of the woodwork. They're everywhere now saying he was a creep. He posted stuff on a young kid's, I think they even said pedophile website. I've never been there, never heard of it until this story, but apparently it's out there. And this guy was posting stuff. I did see a video of him running around in his BVDs in a bar, acting like he was a male stripper. So he can, and now he's saying, oh, that's all a lot of nonsense. I was going through a difficult time when I got back from war.
So because he was going through a difficult time, that's nonsense. It's not true. I don't think so. It doesn't work that way.
Well, they're the other side. They expect that you'll believe anything. And for years, folks, let's be honest. For years, they did feed us a lot of pablum, and most of the people weren't paying attention, and they did.
Well, what they would have you believe is that the rural areas where we are strong in Republicans, they're turning blue. That would be what you'd have to believe in California. If you look at California and just say, I want a color map of blue versus red, you'll go, the state is red. In just a couple of the high population areas, it's blue. And, voter ID, and that's why the SAVE Act is important, because it calls for voter ID. You have a lot of this nonsense that's going on in California. Plus, you know what? You can't make it. You can't walk down to the corner and vote. That's okay. You can mail in your votes. Wink, wink, nod, nod. And we'll make sure that they all get counted properly. And if we have a few extra ballots, I guess we miscounted somewhere, but they have to count. Their vote counts. If you look at it, they'll tell you one story, but it's a different story.
Yeah,
it's a lie that they're telling you. CNN is doing that right now, trying to say that Trump is losing his base.
I know. They're trying to sell that. Hey, hang on to that thought. Like and share our show. Tell your friends about Jim and Bill. It's another day. Hey, a reminder, next week we're going to take some time off because you have to every so often. I mean, every 5 years, we've got to take a little time off. So we're going to take like a week off to recharge ourselves.
It's in our contract. We get a vacation
every 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
And then they send us back into our cage. But here's the thing. We are not going to be unavailable. If something major happens, odds are you can check back. We'll probably have something posted. It may just be a comment about what's going on, but we're going to try to stay in touch. But figure we'll be here on Monday, and then Tuesday to Tuesday we'll be we'll be cavorting hither and thar in the summertime, enjoying the weather and swimming with the fishies, and then we'll be back. We'll be back recharged. So I just wanted to pass that along to you. Also, if you want to email us, you can send us an email at mail@jimandbill.com.
Wake up on the right side with Right Side Coffee.
Available at rightsideshop.com. You know what gets me? There are websites that we go to prepare our program that are conservative. And we think they're pretty honest. But even they, every so often, they throw stories out that make you wonder whether they're not infiltrated too. One of the stories that this morning is Blanche the right choice? The case against Todd Blanche for Attorney General. He's been nominated by the president to be the replacement for Pam Bondi. And I think, by the way, so far he's been pretty impressive. So far he has been right there. And my thought is this, friends. It's the president's choice. The president knows the guy. The president obviously has a very good relationship with Todd Blanche. They can talk and be casual and comfortable. That's important. The line of communication is there. The president needs that. It's his choice. Quit second-guessing our president. Let him make his decisions. It's his administration. I mean, they're gonna criticize him no matter what he does. He could have, I was going to say the Pope be Attorney General, but we definitely wouldn't want that. But, I mean, he could have anybody be his nominee, and they'll criticize it because that's what they do in Washington. But I've watched Blanche. I saw him speaking in front of Congress last week, and he handled himself beautifully. I was like, holy smokes. The other big story in the news this morning is Iran. We're in this middle of a ceasefire, but it's not really a ceasefire. They attacked us yesterday. They sent some missiles out at some ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran did. We intercepted them, blew them out of the water, and then from what I understand, we turned around and we blew the snot out of, excuse the descriptive, but we blew the living daylights out of the place that launched the missiles. So that's what I read this morning. Doesn't sound like a ceasefire. You know, a ceasefire in the old days was, I'll put my guns down and you put your guns down, and that's a ceasefire. But when they're still shooting at you, that's called, call me crazy, but that's a war. And I have a feeling, I was listening to Jack Keane this morning, the retired four-star general who is the military contributor on Fox. He said, look at folks, we're on the verge of it, either make it or break it with this war. Either we're going to have an agreement or we're going to have a hot war. He says it will happen within the next 2 days. That was his expert opinion. I think he's right. And I'll be honest with you, based upon, I heard an Iranian leader, he was on TV this morning saying, and I'm just quoting him here, but I'm paraphrasing rather, but he said,
Right.
well, you have to, this is a very important situation. The only way we're going to have a deal is if we get our $24 billion back. It's our money, and we want our $24 billion. It's a moment of trust. This is what this guy is telling us. It's like the guy. We have a gun pointed at his head and it's loaded, right? But he's the guy who's going to be. He's in the wrong end of the gun, and he is telling us the terms of the deal. Well, I need the $24 billion or no end to this war, you know. I would say to him, sir, go back to your house and lock your doors, you know, and then go down in the basement and say some prayers, because odds are it's not going to be a pleasant time for your neighborhood anytime soon. I think that, Bill, I don't know whether Trump can get a deal with these people.
I don't think he can. And I mean, how long are we going to play the game? If he wanted $24 million, I would sit there and say, you know what?
No, billion.
Billion. Well, if you want $24 billion,
yes,
we'll deliver it. We'll airdrop it right over your house.
Yes, we'll send it as military hardware. How's that?
Yeah, some will be fired from ships out at sea.
Yes,
but the parachutes might fail. But don't worry, they will open on impact.
Yes. So, no one wants a war. President Trump has proven he's gone 8 weeks with the ceasefire. He's given them more time to get their crap together, and they have not done it. As a matter of fact, they're becoming emboldened based upon that conversation yesterday. This guy's he's starting to sound like he's dictating the terms to us. You know, it's like, you either give us $24 billion or no deal. We'll show
No
you.
deal.
We'll show you. We'll get killed. Man, these people are amazing. But there's another part of me, folks, and this is the writer in me. You know, that's my avocation.
Mm-hmm.
The other part of me says, these are crafty little people on the other side. Do they know something that we don't know? For example, last week, there were a bunch of strange men going at 2 o'clock into the morning into the sewer system in New York. They got them on camera. Don't know who these people were. They were climbing down. They would put an outfit on. They'd climb down into the sewer system and disappear for some time. And then later on, they would reappear, take off the whatever clothing, the protective garb they had, and they would disappear into the night, as they would say. What were they doing down there? The officials who want to keep you in the dark and covered with manure, just like they treat their mushrooms, their answer was they were treasure hunters. That's right, because we all know how much treasure is in the sewer system in New York City. Folks,
Treasure hunters. So they were down there with their metal detectors sifting through the poop.
they were down. Well, they want you to believe that. The The officials, nothing to see here. They were just treasure hunters looking for stuff in the manure. Folks, I wonder whether there are people down there planting explosives under the city. What better place than in the sewer system in New York to put devices? You know, plant them all over the city. Then you have the city hostage.
Mhm.
Then you can say, okay, guys, this is a little test. I want you to look to this part of the city. Are you watching? Boom. All right. Now, have I got your attention? Yes, we have bigger ones under other parts of the city. You are going to work with us, or you are going to feel the wrath of us. I mean, this is the kind of people we're dealing with. Do you remember? You probably remember this, Bill. When Trump lost in 2020, a video that made the rounds online was a video produced by Iran, and it was the camera a point of view of a missile, and it was in Palm Beach, and it was an ICBM, and the missile was seeking out Mar-a-Lago, and they were essentially saying, "We're going to come and get you, and we're going to blow you up," and it wasn't just an animated cartoon; it was a threat, and like everything else in our country, the media minimized it, like, oh, it's nothing to see here. Just move along. That's what they do with important stories they don't want you to pay attention to. They minimize it and move on. How many times have you and I been doing stories here, and we'll get a big story like, oh, man, this is going to have legs. This is really big. And if they don't want you to know about it, they come up with something else the next day that grabs the news cycle, and you never see that story again.
Mm-hmm.
They control it. But they want you to believe that those were treasure hunters in the sewers of New York running around. I didn't see them bringing any treasure out, too, Bill. They didn't have any trinkets as they were coming out of the...
Well, let's find out. What kind of treasure can you find in a sewer?
Yes.
I'm
Are you
typing
using
that
your
in.
magic machine now?
Yes, I am. I am going to see because, I'll treasure hunt. I've got, but I won't go in a sewer and treasure hunt. I can tell you that.
Really? Why is that?
Well, it stinks.
That's true.
You find in a sewer. I'm a slow typer.
Yes. He's typing with his elbow. So, yes. He's a little
and my
slow.
tongue. Yeah, there we go.
Elbow in his tongue. It's a unique approach. How many words per minute? Per minute? It's per hour.
It's two letters a minute, yeah. Well, let's see. It says possible valuable finds that you will see is jewelry, gold, silver items, rings, necklaces, earrings, bracelets, and even gold flakes or coins that fall down storm drains or get flushed.
So you go down there with a metal detector, I would imagine, right? But they didn't have one.
I wouldn't go down there with them. They didn't have one. That's true. And are you going to sift for coins, wallets, and cash? I don't. Antique bottles and relics, was that what they were looking for? I don't think so. Stolen goods, now, maybe something that got dumped in a sewer that they needed to get out of there?
Amazing.
I mean, hey, Jim, we need you to go in the sewer. I whacked a guy, and I had to quickly throw the gun in the sewer. We don't want it found. Could you go fetch it for us?
Folks, they don't want you to know about that story, so you probably won't see anything mentioned about that story all day today. It may
we're the only ones that did.
Yep. Another interesting story, folks, and they want you to believe that this has some gravitas. Apparently, there are 28 deep state hacks, former generals, too, who have signed a letter bashing Bill Pulte, he's only a temporary interim director of national intelligence. He's not the permanent guy, but they are so afraid of this man, and that's the only reason why they're upset, that they front page of the New York Post They got, you should see the picture. Either it was yesterday or today. It has these people who have signed this letter. Where have you seen that before? Where people have signed a letter and posted it in the news. In 2020, we saw it with, do you remember they had this thing about, and it was all lies. It was all lies. But you look at the people who have signed this letter. I mean, Bill, it's amazing. Leon Panetta, he's always there. He's always part of the group. Folks, these people should have no credibility at all. They should have no weight in your decision-making at all. They think that, well, I'm going to sign that letter. It'll mean something. It'll mean something only if you believe them. Don't believe them. Everybody who signs this letter has a political agenda. And I truly think that Pulte has touched a raw nerve on the side of the left. I think that they're afraid of him. I think they suspect that, I don't know, this guy Pulte, he doesn't. They're saying, well, he has no experience in national intelligence. How much experience in national intelligence did Tulsi Gabbard have? How much experience in national intelligence on the other side did Leon Panetta have? They didn't have any experience. It's OJT, on-the-job training. But what Pulte is he's a loyalist with regard to this president. And they are petrified of that because he may go in there and he may shake out the rug. You know what I'm saying? Like go in there, get the dust on, shake out the rug. The president's already told Pulte, I want you to go in there and I want you to clean out all the deep staters in your organization. The place is infested with them. I want them gone. I want you to clear out the corrupt hacks that are in these organizations. Well, that doesn't sit well with these 28 people. They don't want that because it's going to affect them and their greed and their, what gets me about these people, friends, is that they cloak themselves in the veil of patriotism. They walk around and they want you to believe that they're patriots. These are self-serving, greedy SOBs who literally are thinking about themselves. They're thinking about themselves. That's it. So right now, front page of the New York Post, you can see it. If you go online, Bill, you can see it. The picture of all these. But the New York Post put, "Spies Who Lie." That's a great headline. Spies Who Lie.
It sounds like a movie, Spies Who Lie.
Starring, yes, of course. But it's the same group of people. Yeah. And, you mentioned to me yesterday if there were the Insurrection Act, and I said we talked about the military would take control with regard to law and order. And you said, well, can you count on all of the military? The answer definitely is no.
Yeah.
You can't.
That's my thing is we've got a problem here. And
But, Bill, but if he does it, the law-abiding military have to follow the president. That's the chain of command. It's if people start complaining in the military and pulling back on it, those are the guys who aren't following the law.
Well, I would say if he does the Insurrection Act, we'll have a civil war because the left will separate itself then.
Yeah. Well, during the American Civil War, a lot of people don't know this because they don't teach the Civil War anymore. They don't teach the Revolutionary War in school anymore. But a lot of people don't realize that General Robert E. Lee, the big Southern general, the leader of the Army of Northern Virginia,
right?
He was offered to be the head of the Army of the Potomac, essentially the Union Army. He was given that opportunity by President Lincoln. Lincoln brought him into his office, said, General Lee, good to see you. Would like to offer you this. And Lee, you'd think he went to West Point and he fought in the Mexican War. You would think he would have been a real patriot. He turned to our president, President Lincoln, and he said, "Sir, I cannot fight against my land, my country."
Yeah.
His land and his country wasn't the United States of America. It was Virginia, old Dominion. That's what his loyalty lay. So you talk about there will be some big important generals who will balk at President Trump if he does the Insurrection Act, and they should be summarily discharged without delay.
Well, see, now the interesting point is he cannot go against his land, his country. It was a state. Do we have that now with blue states? This is my country.
Yes.
Or so.
Like California.
But it's not all, then California needs to properly divide that state.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, and you know what? There's a lot of red there.
Yeah.
So, these states, before they sit there and do something silly, they need to sit there and say, we need to self-divide because it's not fair to the other people in the state. If that's the way you want to do it, then self-divide. And then you're going to find out in your faction of the blue, you're going to have some blue that aren't as blue as you. And so we can divide ourselves into nothing. And we're on the verge of decomposing as a nation.
Wow. Hey, like and share the show. Tell your friends about us. Jim and Bill, it's another day. You want to send us an email? It's mail@jimandbill.com.
Wake up on the right side with Right Side Coffee.
Available at rightsideshop.com. Decomposing is a nation. Oof.
That's kind of a far-fetched thought there,
No,
but really we
sad.
are.
Yeah.
When you think about it, because how much are we going to divide ourselves?
I got a question
once you
for you.
start, you may as well just take it all the way down to.
I don't think Trump can achieve what he has to achieve without taking complete control of all of the media. As long as you have in our society, and I know that sounds like a dictator. I'm just saying, realistically, folks, do you think the president can achieve his goals and bring our country back together again and make it the country it should be if he is constantly going against a well-crafted, well-oiled media that's only objective is to bring him down?
Well, don't you think that what you just asked is what they are striving to have happen? My answer to what you asked is a one-word answer: no. And they want it to get to that because then anything that he does, taking control. See, we told you it.
When you say no, you shouldn't take control of the media.
Because if he does, it's a one-word answer, either no or yes. Now, if we go yes, we take control of the media, we take control of the country. They go, see, he's a dictator. So, if you take, and that's why I say no, you can't take control, because if you do, it plays into
under every scenario I've read where there's an emergency where the government takes control where they have a insurrection act or something like that. They always have a period of communication blindness where they turn everything off for a bit. I think that I've seen it mostly. It's been like 3 days. And then when they come back on, they have control, and they start explaining what's going on. They try to do it honestly. What you don't have is the opposition spin. You don't have the troublemakers complaining about because they're not going to be on.
Are they going to shut down the internet?
I've heard they could.
Because you'd have to shut down the internet. You have to shut down the papers. But I think the left is some of these radical groups are set up and prepared to go out and publicly display signs. I'm just saying, what they've done is they've built a box around the administration. So no matter what you do, it's going to they've got a flip and a spin. It's
if the power of broadcast media is so great. And when I say broadcast media, I'm not just talking about radio and TV. I'm including, the internet too. But it essentially is using the same tools to get the message out, and you get the same kind of effect. The signage and banners and stuff like that I don't think they have that effect anymore. They don't, to me, because you can pull them down, you can destroy them quickly. Someone hangs a banner on an overpass. If the government doesn't want it there, they send out somebody, and before you know it, it's gone. It's not there anymore. But with the media, with television and radio and the internet, you're trying to get a story across to everybody. You can do it, especially if you control all of it. You control all of it, you are going to have. See, I think, Bill, for example, right now, I think England is miles down the road ahead of us right now towards a problem. They're so in trouble in England right now that I expect that there will be violence and a civil war at some point, because you get people like, for example, Elon Musk commented on, I don't know if you saw about this, Elon Musk commented on the Henry Nowak murder. And Elon Musk was very much on the side of Nowak and his family. And so Keir Starmer, the prime minister, he essentially told Musk, stay out of English politics, Obin. Stay out of English politics. Instead of embracing the situation and saying, hey, it's terrible, and I happen to agree with you, Mr. Musk, they essentially flipped off Elon Musk and told him to take a hike. Essentially, it is the George Floyd situation in reverse. Instead of it being a minority who is, quote, murdered, quote, in real life, it is a white kid who was murdered by a minority. That doesn't fit the narrative of the liberal left, you see. It's something we don't want to promote or talk about, so we will keep it hush-hush. Oh, Elon Musk commented, tell Mr. Musk to mind his own business, Bean. So you have a deaf government in England, and the people know it. They have 2 million people show up at a rally the week before last. I think Glenn Beck went and spoke at it. Over in England, it was Tommy Robinson was running it. Just people on the street who got together. Oh, they didn't want that. They didn't want that covered. They didn't want the media to cover it. Of course, they did cover it. It wasn't really the mainstream media, but they had other places there covering it. Word got out. I think England is on. If we are in a situation where we could have a civil war, England is closer to theirs than we are to ours. But it doesn't mean we're both not going to get into a civil war. There's a chance.
Could that happen all over the world? I mean, is democracy as we know it are the institutions of the world as we know it being challenged?
Well, the left has primed Europe. Yes, the left bill has primed. You look at Germany. What Merkel did in Germany? She screwed big time that country up. And we have France has been it's a mess. The liberals have really done a terrible job on their countries, and people have suffered. Yeah, there are people who are, and by the way, they're in England, and in France, they are just overcrowded with strangers who they've allowed into their country. And, these people don't come in and assimilate. They come in and take over. It's happening here in our country. It's happened. They want to do the same thing here. They had some kind of a demonstration in Minneapolis yesterday. You would think that the people from Somalia would realize that they're going through a difficult time because people are realizing a lot of that fraud was done by their fellow countrymen. But instead, they go out and have a big demonstration and a party celebrating their culture. And their culture isn't an American culture. Their culture is Somalia. They go out with all their garb, and they're singing and chanting in the streets, essentially saying to the native Minnesotans, screw you. We're taking over your place. Whether you like it or not, we're here. You can say what you want, but you can't beat us all. Well, as long as you have the left on your side, that's probably true. And if President Trump is going to do anything, see, a lot of his supporters, you talked about, Bill, they're trying to sell the idea that his supporters aren't supporting him anymore. The only thing is a lot of people on his side who still love him, but we're a little frustrated with the fact that it's been like all talk and no action. We would like to see some of these bad guys perp walked. You know, some of these guys who've made a mockery of our country moved, and it hasn't happened. I can tell by looking at my cohort in crime that he's as we speak, he's scanning the internet. He's looking for something.
No, I'm looking for analogies and comparison. I was thinking about politics and, equating it to a board game, and if I were going to do that, the only board game that comes to mind, and it's almost like it's training for us, would be the game of Monopoly.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, it's a rigged game.
Yeah.
Kind of like politics.
You get to the wrong place, they'll send you back to jail. Do not stop and go. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a community chest, so there's stuff like that, building hotels and boardwalks, the housing crisis.
The game of American capitalism. Yep.
Yeah. And then you have Scrabble that would be kind of like, the twisting words, linguistics, and everything like that. Yeah, I don't know why that thought came to mind, but my mind goes off in tangents, and it was, because I'm just listening to the news, and we're talking about Trump's got to do something,
In the meantime, the judiciary is still making a mockery of this man, our president. You heard about Obama judge strikes down Trump asylum politics, his policies, in a scathing rebuke. A federal judge on Friday struck down President Trump's asylum policies. U.S. District Judge John McConnell, an Obama appointee. Well, isn't that a surprise? Jeez, who would have thought? Accused President Trump of leaving millions of illegals living in the United States in limbo. Well, if they're illegals, where would you expect them to be? I mean, they came here illegally. They're not supposed to be here. If we are now pulling the plug on giving them benefits and stuff, you would expect. See, maybe if things get a little.
This is the game.
Yeah, if things get a little tough for these people, maybe they'll realize, hey, I'm actually going to make a better living back home. I'm going home. But that's not.
Well, that's the hope, and and I think that people waiting for Trump to do something. I think he's waiting for a play, a move that he can do. And, you mentioned an Obama judge. Well, there you go. We get back to not wanting to go back to the game, but I'm using it as my, analogy here is that he's got to get the right card where we don't have an Obama judge that can step in and do something.
This judge says, in part of his complaint, he says, only reverse migration can fully cure the situation.
Now, what is reverse migration?
That's when they want to go home. But he makes it. This judge makes it sound like, oh, that's a ridiculous option.
That ain't going to happen,
folks. They have a full court press. That's a basketball term. They have a full court press going on right now against Trump in the judiciary. Every other day, you see a ruling from one of these people that were put into place to be mines. Think of them as like mines in the open ocean, right? And Trump is trying to navigate the seas of democracy and diplomacy, and they are there to screw him up and to sink his ship of state. But the administration had better get, they talk about Todd Blanche. I think he's going to be okay, but they need a hired gun to get into that Department of Justice and start firing some of those guns, and start to bring some real justice. And President Trump, sir, who am I to make a suggestion, but they're going to criticize you no matter what you do. They're going to say that you're a dictator, you're another Hitler. They're going to say everything. They're going to say it. So my offer to you is just go out there and do it. Do what you have to do.
Do what you got to do. Get
Yeah.
the job done. And, look, he's not going to run again. He might like to kid and say that, but it's not going to happen. It's do or die time. And as far as the Democrats are concerned, he's going to die. They want him to die.
Oh, I think you're right there, Bill.
But, so you may as well sit there and start taking your best shots, because every shot you take, hate to say it this way, but might be your last shot. So,
I see where the Senate passed a bill that funds ICE through fiscal year 2029.
yeah.
Lisa Murkowski, the wolf in sheep's clothing up in Alaska,
Mm-hmm.
she, of course, she voted no, to be expected. She is a waste of space in that job. I wish no ill on the lady, except that she loses her next election. That I do wish. Pride Month propaganda has pushed hard in children's programming. Disney World and other places have Sesame Street, Teletubbies, all, I guess, paying tribute to LGBTQ. They really, the left and this agenda really think nothing about going after your children. When I was a kid, call me crazy, but politics, you didn't read about politics and toys. Games, cartoons. It was just fun stuff. But now the left has taken all these fun things and they've weaponized them. Well,
They weaponize everything. They divide us, and how far are they going to divide us down? They got to keep dividing to build their little tent. What was it? The community that Hillary talked about.
I won't look at.
Takes a village.
Here's I don't know how many times I've said this on this show, and how many times I'll have to say it. I'm not a homophobe, as they would like to label us. I have friends. I worked my whole career in broadcasting. There are a lot of people in this industry who have that proclivity. All right, but they don't wear it as a uniform. They don't wear it as a badge. They go about their lives, living their lives, and working as that's like secondary. And you know what? You're friends. It's like I think one of the greatest guys in government is Scott Bessent. He's gay. I think he's one of the best people in the Trump administration. He's a genius, and he's incredibly talented in that position. But he doesn't go around saying I'm gay and everything else is secondary. What he goes around doing is I'm Scott Bessent, and I'm really intelligent, and I offer a lot to this administration. And if you want, I am gay, but who knows? I mean, that's neither here nor there. People don't ask me or don't ask President Trump, what are your qualifications for your job? Are you gay or straight? But yet the other side wants you to think of that first. Think of.
Well, it's a divisive question. Look, what do you care about somebody's sexuality? Well, I'm heterosexual. Well, that's boring. A lot of people are that. So what they want to do is they want to divide it. Well, then they divided it, so you had the gay culture. Well, let's go a little bit further then. Let's give them pronouns. Now, there's actually, pronouns grow. My son was telling me about a pronoun. I wish you were here to remind me what it was or stick his head through the door. And there's 2 new pronouns out there that mean absolutely nothing. It is just to make fun of the fact of pronouns, and I'm like going, because, what's all this identity crisis?
Yeah.
Well, it's to sit there and divide people. Oh, yeah, I like that. I'm going to do that. And there are people that sit there, they revolve their pronouns or they add to it because they can.
Yeah, I see on applications and things like that. How do you identify he or she or?
I leave it blank.
It's like, look at the name. What does the name say? All right. What do you think? I'm just saying.
Well, yeah. If they ask, I always leave it blank. What's your pronoun? I leave it blank. Whether you're now, I'm not applying for jobs anywhere, but I have had somebody one time going, you didn't fill out pronoun. And I said, because it's none of your damn business.
Yeah.
No.
With a voice like his, what do you think?
There should be no mistake.
That's exactly right. Oh my God. Anyway, anything you want to add before we wrap this one up, my friend?
No, I think it's going to be an interesting weekend. I'm still waiting for the big reveal. Today is reveal day. I mean, it's 666 today, and nothing. Was that all hype and hoopla? Just a distraction in the news.
I don't know.
And they're talking about the mayoral race in California, but the governor's race too. There were two Republicans that were top tier, and it looked like the Democrats are going to be out. And I said that's where Gavin Newsom said, "We'll break the glass somehow." And now the head guy is the Democrat, Xavier or whatever his name is, followed by the Republican who's really nipping on him. And then down from nowhere are Democrats coming up. And I'm going, they're still counting the votes. All of a sudden, all they got to do is get the one Democrat to overtake the Republican, and they'll say, that's it. We have our two candidates, and they're both Democrats.
And the thing is, folks, nobody challenges them. So they figure that they can do this. Nobody gives them any grief about this. Oh, we send off a U.S. attorney to monitor the election vote counting. But what does he do? Does he have coffee and leave? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think one of them filed for some kind of special election count, and to go back but they file it to Gavin Newsom. That's
not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, he's a core Democrat. He's leaning like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
No, it's going just the way I planned it. It ain't going to change nothing.
Yeah. Anyway, my friend, I'm done. It's a wrap. Put a fork in it. We'll see you on Monday.
Well, you have a good weekend, sir. We'll stay in touch with the news and do a recap on Monday. So until next time, hasta la vista, baby. We're out of here.
Who are we? And why are we here? Will we be welcome or possibly feared? Do we unite and stand tall as a nation of one? Or split and divide or be mocked and shunned? Are our leaders patriotic, honest and true? Do they share our beliefs? Are they red, white, and blue? The truth is out there, you just have to search. Settle for less, you'll be left in the lurch. No left-leaning lies, no socialist swill. It's straight talking truth from your friends Jim and Bill. Are our leaders patriotic, honest and true? Do they share our belief? Are they red, white, and blue? Are our leaders patriotic, honest and true? Do they share our beliefs? Are they red, white, and blue?
Wake up on the right side with Right Side Coffee.
Available at rightsideshop.com. All music the property of Jim and Bill. All rights reserved.
This is CRN America.